Emily received a unique music box and necklace from her grandmother on her 16th birthday, which led to eerie experiences. She began seeing the ghost of a young girl who initially seemed like a hallucination, but later physically attacked her. Emily's family and friends didn't believe her, leading her to face the ghost alone. Her life improved after meeting and moving in with Ernesto, but the ghost reappeared when the music box was reopened. Desperate, Emily consulted a medium who revealed the ghost was a murdered girl named Emily, and after returning the music box to the site of the murder, the haunting ceased. So, let's get started to know what happened for Emily in this story, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Receiving a gift from a special someone is one of the things that makes us the happiest. We'd keep these gifts for the rest of our lives and never throw them away, especially if it was a unique gift, unlike any other. It will remain with us as a lovely memento. But what happened to our main character in today's story was completely different. When Emily got her special birthday gift, it was a dark turning point in her life. Creepy things began to happen to her from the day on, specifically since she opened a gift box. The gift's ghost, or as they call it, the evil spirit, began to appear gradually in Emily's life, and she tried all she could to get rid of it. The ending of today's story is both shocking and puzzling. And as usual, you are free to believe the story or not, or you may have some other explanation. What happened to Emily? And what was the secret behind that gift? Let us go back to the beginning to understand everything. Our story begins in Emily's house. Emily was adopted immediately after her birth. Unlike what happens sometimes, her family decided to inform her of this when she was a child, telling her that she wasn't their child, but had been adopted. They thought that telling her the truth at an early age would be best for her. They told Emily the truth, and she accepted it with grace, especially because they adored her and treated her so well, so she was always pleased with them. However, Emily was an introverted girl who had no friends and never went out. She wasn't popular at school. She was a quiet girl with nothing interesting going on in her life until the day everything changed. When Emily turned 16, her family decided to throw her a surprise birthday party at home. They prepared a cake and gifts for her and began partying and singing for her. Then towards the end of the party, Emily's grandma approached her and handed her a gift. Emily was very close to her grandma because she was very kind and loving. Emily excitedly opened the gift box, unveiling an old, wonderful music box that played nice music. There was also a heart-shaped necklace with it. The thing that made Emily happy the most was that her grandma had etched her name on the box. It was a very touching moment for Emily, and that gift was the most valuable gift she had ever received. That day passed peacefully. Emily returned to her room, holding her gift and smiling as she looked at it. She opened the box and took out the necklace to wear it, and that's when she felt a hand touch hers while she was wearing it. She turned her head, certain that she'd see her grandmother or another family member, because she felt someone touch her. But strangely, she didn't see anyone. Emily was alone in her room. No one else was present. Emily felt for a split second that someone was in the room with her, but she decided not to be concerned or think about it. She thought that she was probably hallucinating. Sometimes we have such experiences, feeling as if there is someone behind us or in the room with us, only to discover that it was all a hallucination. Anyway, the night came, and Emily began writing about her special day in her diary when she suddenly heard music coming from the box. For a second, she thought that she was just hallucinating again. She went to check the box and found that the music was indeed coming from it while it was closed. Spontaneously, she opened and closed the box, and the music stopped. At that moment, Emily felt she saw a shadow at the door. When she looked at the shadow, she was surprised to see a young girl who had entered her room. Emily froze in place as the girl stared at her with a creepy smile. The little girl then suddenly disappeared. Emily described the girl as looking like a rotten corpse, with bloody clothes. Emily almost passed out after seeing what she saw. Emily was convinced she was hallucinating, seeing things that didn't exist, possibly due to tiredness or staying up all night. But she had no idea it would happen again. Emily went into the bathroom to take a shower in order to calm down. She got into the bathtub, lit some candles, and tried to unwind. Then all of a sudden, she felt a hand on her head. She opened her eyes to see the same creepy little girl she had seen before, but this time, she was much closer to her. The girl sat on the edge of the bathtub and began gently stroking Emily's head while maliciously smiling. After a few seconds, the girl pushed Emily's head under the water, trying to drown her. Emily tried to resist the girl, but she couldn't. She was far stronger than her, as if it wasn't a little girl's hand at all. Emily was about to suffocate when the girl suddenly disappeared, allowing her to lift her head and breathe. Emily ran back to her room, terrified and unsure of what to do. She thought they were just hallucinations at first, but now that creepy entity has tried to murder her. Emily decided to tell her family without second thought. She informed her sister, but she didn't believe her and still doesn't today. Emily told her mother, who responded to her by saying, "You're crazy," and told her that she was probably hallucinating, seeing things that weren't there, and that they might need to see a psychiatrist. Emily regretted telling them because all they did was accuse her of lying or being insane. So she decided to face her fate alone, confident that what she saw was real and not a hallucination. Emily got up the next morning and started her day as usual. In the afternoon, she sat with her father and played chess. That is, until the ghost of the little girl decided to join them in their game. Emily saw a terrifying sight behind her father. The girl was hanging on the ceiling, giving her death stares. Emily's father noticed the terror in her eyes. She was frozen and looking behind him. But when he turned his head, he saw nothing. The girl vanished in less than a second. Emily told him that she was certain she saw something behind him and that it's impossible that she was hallucinating. The father got up and started looking around the place, but he found nothing. He then went to get some water for her. As soon as he was away from her, the girl's ghost decided to reappear and continue to mess with Emily's nerves. The girl sat in the father's seat and moved a chess piece as if inviting Emily to play with her. Emily burst into tears because she was so terrified. The father returned and saw Emily crying, and the chess piece moved, and she began looking left and right for the girl, who had vanished as the father walked in. The father gave his daughter strange looks, as if he thought she was insane, and he said nothing. And Emily didn't try to explain it to him because she knew he wouldn't believe her. Emily decided to keep everything to herself and not tell anyone about what was happening to her. She didn't want to get those strange looks from them when she brought it up, or to hear them tell her she was insane again. The girl's ghost began to appear more frequently in Emily's life. The girl sometimes gave her disturbing or threatening stares according to what Emily felt. The girl's ghost's worst appearances were when she tried to murder Emily. At that time, Emily felt that she could lose her life at any moment. Emily was sleeping peacefully one night when she awoke with a sharp pain in her knee. She got up, terrified, and immediately examined her knee to see what caused all that pain, and was shocked to see bite marks on her knee. Not a cut or a bruise. How strange. Emily assumed the little girl had crept into her room and done this. At that moment, Emily felt extremely horrified. To this day, Emily has no idea who that girl was, what she wanted from her, or why she was trying to hurt her. Days passed, and one day, a guy named Ernesto entered Emily's life, whom she met through a mutual friend. Ernesto was a unique person in Emily's eyes. She spent a lot of time with him and talked to him a lot, which was unusual for her. Until one day, she realized she was in love with him. Days went by and the feeling became mutual, and Ernesto confessed his love to Emily, and he invited her to live in his home with his little daughter, Jacqueline. Emily agreed without a second thought. For clarification, that is not acceptable in our society. But in their society, it is very normal for them to live together without marriage, and then decide whether or not to marry. Anyway, Emily packed her belongings and moved into Ernest's home. Days and months passed, and it was the happiest time in Emily's life because the girl's ghost no longer appeared. Her life was peaceful with Ernesto and Jacqueline. So she began wedding preparations with Ernesto. Emily said that it was the first time in her life that she felt so happy. Unfortunately, after 10 months, everything fell apart, which she had not anticipated. One day, the three of them were sitting and having fun together. Ernesto stood up and went to get something from the shelf, probably a book. That's when the old brown box caught his attention. Out of curiosity, he took and opened the box. And that was the first time in many months that the box was opened and the music began to play. Ernesto's breathing became rapid, and he felt dizzy and pain in his stomach, so he dropped the box on the ground and ran to the bathroom to throw up. Emily went to check on him while the music was still playing. When Jacqueline heard the music, she went to the box and took it and stared at it in awe. Once Emily saw that, she went and took the box away from her, yelling at her, "Never grab this thing again." Understand, Emily realized at that point that the box was the source of the little girl's ghost. She had no idea the two were connected before. But this time, she noticed that when Ernesto held the box, he became dizzy and nauseous. And when she heard the music, she was terrified that her previous nightmare would come back. When asked what he felt while holding the box and why he threw up, Ernesto stated that he felt like he was holding rotten flesh, and that he could clearly smell the rot, so he felt very sick and couldn't stand it. Emily spent that night worrying about the reappearance of the little girl's ghost. She didn't want to lose her sweet and tranquil life. She couldn't imagine the little girl returning and taking over her life again. And this time, the girl could hurt other people too, Ernesto and his daughter. Emily decided that telling Ernesto everything that had happened to her in the past was the best option, hoping that he would understand. Ernesto was terrified after Emily told him the entire story, but he tried not to show it and told her not to worry about it, and that everything would be fine. At the end of the day, while everyone was sleeping, Jacqueline woke up in the middle of the night, hungry, and went to the fridge to get something to eat. As she opened the fridge, she heard the music behind her. Because the house was dark and quiet, she could hear it clearly. She shut the fridge and was startled to see the little girl's ghost right in front of her. The girl's ghost was maliciously smiling at her. The ghost approached Jacqueline slowly, then jumped on her and attempted to choke her. Jacqueline screamed at the top of her lungs, waking up Ernesto and Emily, who ran to her aid, and then the ghost vanished. Jacqueline was trembling and crying in panic and fear. Ernesto realized what happened. The ghost attacked his daughter. So he turned to Emily and yelled at her, "It's all your fault. Take that cursed box and leave our house, my daughter, and I never want to see you again." The world went completely dark in Emily's eyes at that point, because what she feared would happen did indeed happen. And now she has almost lost everything. At the time, Emily cried a lot. Everything suddenly fell apart after they planned their wedding. For Emily, that breakup was extremely painful. The situation grew worse. The girl's ghost did not stop at Emily. It went on to attack those around her, making them despise her. After that incident, Emily decided to put an end to it because she didn't want to be a cause of harm to others. But at the same time, she didn't know what to do. She had no idea who that little girl was or why she was attacking her. After so much thinking, Emily decided to visit a medium and bring the necklace and music box with her. A medium is a person who claims to be able to communicate with souls, jinn, and other entities from the spiritual world. He also claims to be able to obtain information that normal senses cannot perceive. We Muslims know that these people are charlatans because, as we believe, souls ascend to the sky after leaving the body. They also cannot be communicated with or summoned in any way. So when a medium claims to be communicating with souls, he is actually communicating with jinns and demons, not with the souls of the dead. And basically, that is forbidden in religion. But I will continue to describe Emily's experiences as they happened. When Emily went to the medium, he took the box and opened it, and his expression changed, as if he saw something that scared him. The medium then closed his eyes and began speaking, asking, "Who are you? What is your name?" He looked uncomfortable. When he was finished, he told Emily that he revealed the entire story. The box belonged to Emily, a young girl who died in a tragic murder. Emily was surprised because she thought that her grandma was who engraved her name on the box. The engraved name Emily on the box turned out to be that of the murdered little girl. According to the medium, many years ago the little girl Emily was playing in the woods, and the music box was with her. She was dressed in the same white dress she wore when she was haunting Emily. When she was alone in the woods, two men attacked her, surrounded her, killed her, and then threw her off the cliff. And the little girl left behind the music box, which was now in Emily's possession. The medium nicknamed the little girl the floater because her body floated on the water. The medium told Emily that the girl's spirit told him she will never leave Emily alone and will haunt her all her life. Emily believed the medium. She told herself that she couldn't stand her presence any longer, that it was enough, that she had lost the sweetest dream in her life because of her. Emily learned it from the medium where the little girl was murdered. Then she went there during the day, bringing the box and the necklace with her. Emily stood on the cliff looking down, then threw the box into the water, hoping that the girl's ghost would leave her alone if she returned it to her. After Emily did that, she went days without seeing the little ghost. In the end, Emily was certain that the ghost had vanished from her life. Emily needed a long time to forget that little girl. She still gets emotional and sometimes tears when she talks about her experience because it reminds her that she had lost something sweet because of that ghost. Emily's story was made into an episode of the Netflix series Haunted, and each episode tells a different story about similar experiences. As usual, people were divided into those who believed the story and those who did not. Some said that Emily's experiences were just illusions and hallucinations, while others accused her of making everything up. While the other group believed her story, and it encouraged them to share their own similar experiences. Now, how about you? What do you think of Emily's story? And how do you explain what happened if you believe it was real? That brings us to the end of today's story. If you liked the video, don't forget to like it and share it everywhere if you want to support me. That's all. Thank you so much. The best is yet to come.